Okay, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. I am going to start with going through the homework. Okay. Okay, so I gave you this question and I want you to use the minus b formula on it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just write down the minus b formula. So I'm going to go into my table book and I'm going to get the formula and I'm going to write it down just so that we have it there to reference. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this just so I can give myself a little bit of space. Okay, so I want to get A first. So A is here in front of the x squared, and that 2 is going to have to go in here and here in the formula. Okay, remember, don't take the x or the x squared, just the number in front. Second one then, now, and you must take the sign. So in the second one, we're looking at minus 11 for B. And that minus 11 is going to have to go in here and here for B. And then C is the last term, which is minus 9. And that just goes in once there. Okay? So, first thing you have to do is get your A, B, and C. Make sure you don't have any X's and make sure you do take the signs, okay? So for B and C, they were negative numbers. You need to take the signs, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go into the formula. Okay, the formula starts with a minus, so I'll put down my minus. And then B is minus 11. Then plus or minus square root. Under the square root, the first thing that goes in is B, so that's minus 11 again. And this time we're going to square it. Then minus 4. Then we have A, so we're going to multiply that by A, which is 2, and multiply that by C, which is minus 9. Okay, and then the bottom line is 2A, and A is 2. Okay, so this one here, I don't know if I explained this kind of fully, so I will. There's an invisible 1 there. See it there? So what we're doing there is minus 1 multiplied by minus 11. Okay, because brackets mean multiply. So the two minuses make a plus, or when the signs are the same, you get a plus, and 1 times 11 is 11. So that's just going to be 11. The plus or minus, we leave alone for a second. Then we open up our square root. Minus 11 squared is minus 11 times minus 11. So the two minuses are going to be plus, and then 11 squared is 121. And then this next bit here, starting from the minus 4, I'm going to type that into the calculator as I see it, brackets and everything. So I'm going to go minus 4 bracket 2 bracket minus 9. And the answer I get for that is 72. The fact that it is just 72 means it's plus 72. So I put that in under my square root. And that is all over, the bottom line is 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so one line before we split up, which is just to sort out that square root. So 11 plus or minus 121 plus 72 is the square root of 193. No, and that is over 4. Okay, so I'm going to split up now. I'm going to take the plus version of the equation over here. So I get 11 plus the square root of 193 over 4. And then I'm going to take the minus version of the equation over here. 11 minus the square root of 193 over 4. Okay, so then just my calculator using my fraction button. 11 plus square root 193 over 4. When I press equals, it just gives me the exact same thing back. So I need to press SD. And I get 6.223110997. And then on the far side, SD, I get minus 0.7223110997. Okay, if we go back up here, we wanted 3 decimal places. Okay, so let's fix these. 1, 2, 3, stop. Look at the number immediately after the stop, which in this case is a 1. A 1 is not going to be big enough to have an effect on the previous number. So that is just going to be 6.223. On the other side, we have the 7, the 2, the 3, and then we're going to stop. The number after the 3 is a 1. That 1 is not going to be big enough to push up the previous number. So again, it stays minus 0.723. And they are your 2 solutions to the homework question. What date is today? 29th. Okay. Right, so that is the homework solution there. So let me know if there's any issues with that, and we will keep going. Not actually doing anything new here today, okay? Just a different way of presenting your answer, okay? Okay. So, when we did these questions the other day, I said that the minus b formula is used to solve quadratic equations when they can't be solved using the guide number. And in that question there, the hint, when they ask you for decimal places, that's a hint to use minus b. Now the other hint to use minus b is when they ask you to leave your answers in surd form. Okay, now we've done surds already, so this should hopefully be quite straightforward. But when I see, so this is a quadratic equation here that I'm going to have to solve. I know it's quadratic because it has an x squared. I know it's a trinomial because it has an x squared, an x, and a constant. We do have a little bit of an issue with this 2 here, but nothing we can't deal with. So I know that this is going to be a minus b formula. Okay, right, so the first problem is that I can't go getting my A, B, and C at the moment, because in order to solve these questions, whether they're minus B or their guide number or their difference two squares, it doesn't matter. I cannot have equals 2. I have to have equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to deal with that by doing a minus 2 here to cancel that out, and then a minus 2 on the far side for balance. So I get 2x squared plus 8x. Now, these two here are from the same family, as in they're both constants. Neither of them have an x, neither of them have an x squared. So they can be added and subtracted. So I can do that little sum. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then I'm left with nothing on the far side. Okay, so I'm going to identify my A, B, and C. So here is A. Oh. Here is B. And then here is C. Okay, so we'll move across and I'll write so go into my table book and I get my equation, my minus B formula. And we write it down. And then we just have to put all the numbers in the right places. Okay, so the equation always starts with a minus. And then this time B is just 8. Then I have plus or minus square root. B is 8, so I put that in and I square it. Then I have minus 4, it'll always be minus 4. A is 2 and C is 1. And that's over 2 times A, which is 2 times 2. Okay, so we will keep moving across. Okay, so the minus 8 is just a minus 8. That's fine. Plus or minus is fine. 8 squared, you can do in your calculator if you need to. It's 64. And then this bit, again, you can put it into your calculator if you need to, but that whole thing is done together and we get minus 8. And that is all over 4. Okay. Then we have, I'm going to keep moving sideways for a minute. So minus 8 plus or minus the square root, 64 minus 8 is 56 over 4. Once I get to that point, I can split up. So I take my plus this way, which is minus 8 plus root 56 all over 4. And I take my minus the other way, which is minus 8 minus root 56 all over 4. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the fraction button on my calculator. On the top line, I'm going to type in minus 8 plus the square root of 56. Move to the bottom line and type in 4. Now, when you press equals, it gives you the answer with a square root in it. Okay? The calculator will simplify it for you so that it is a surd, and that's actually your answer. So on this side, I'm getting minus 4 plus the square root of 14 over 2. Okay, this here is your surd. Okay, do you remember surds? They had to have a square root. The number underneath had to be a natural number, and it then had to be an irrational number when you typed it into your calculator. Okay, so the square root of 14 is a surd. And this question, if you remember, they wanted it in surd form. So we don't press the SD button on our calculator, we just leave it as the surd. And then I'm going to do the other one. Minus 8 minus the square root of 56. And on the bottom line I have 4. And when I press equals on that one, I get minus 4 plus the square root of 14 all over 2. So that then are your two answers in surd form. All right. So when you're asked to, whether you're asked to give the answers to decimal places or in surd form, the process is the same. You find your A, your B, and your C, you put them into the minus B formula, you get it down to this point here, okay, where there's no addition or subtraction to be done under the square root. Split it up into your plus or minus, and the only difference between the two questions is that in this one up here, to go from this to this, I would have pressed the SD button on my calculator. Whereas in this one, I don't press the SD. I don't get the decimal version. Is that okay? So I'm not going to do any more today. I'm just going to ask you to do one of each. Okay, that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do one of each, but I'm going to change it myself. Okay, so for homework, I'll just go with a different colour. So this will be due for Monday. I want you to do this one here, and I want you to give the answer in surd form. And then I want you to do this one here, but I'd like you to give the answer to 2 decimal places. Okay? So the first one in surd form and the second one to 2 decimal places. And be very careful that in order to be able to find your A, B, and C, you must have equals 0 on the right. Your A comes from your x squared, your B comes from your x, and your C comes from your constant. Okay, if they have the order wrong, you need to fix it before you take your A, B, and C. Okay, so I'll throw this into the journal. Where did I, oh yeah. Okay, so that's there. And that is due for Monday. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you have any issues with that, and have a nice weekend, and I will see you Monday.